So hello and welcome back to Paul's Bass Academy. I wanted to do just a brief introduction to the video that I'm about to show you. I put together a video about drop shotting because it's a fairly new way to fish for me. It's not new by any means, it's just something that I haven't done yet. I'm still new to fishing, relatively new I guess you could say. But this is the setup. If you see a hook up here like this and a leader and then your weight on the bottom, that's going to be a drop shot. This is longer than what I'm actually fishing with in the video that you're about to see. But that's the setup. Just a standard little 1/0 hook of some kind. I think it's called a drop shot hook. Actually, it's a Gamakatsu. This hook is made by Gamakatsu. It's a little 1/0 hook and it was perfect. And it was perfect for what I was doing. And today I'm going to be using KVD plastics. It's called KVD Perfect Plastics Dream Shot. And this is watermelon red flake, but in the video that you're going to see, I'm using the color that's called Magic. I think it's just called Magic. And I learned a lot in this video, but I want to tell you before you watch this video, though I do catch some fish, they're spaced out, and they're mostly later on in the video because I am trying to learn what pattern to use to catch these fish. Not every video that I produce is going to be me catching a fish every 2 minutes, and this is certainly going to be a good example because I'm new to drop shotting and I don't know how to do it. I don't know if I need to be in deeper water, shallower water, fishing trees, fishing rocks, and so this video is about me figuring that out. What you're watching is me develop a pattern to try to learn how to catch bass in the evening on a drop shot. So I hope you enjoy this video. And if you like it and appreciate the content that I'm producing, please consider subscribing to my channel and give my video a like or a big old thumbs up. God bless, good luck out on the water. I hope you enjoy this video about me learning how to drop shot. Welcome back to Paul's Bass Academy. I am trying something different today. I'm hoping I can catch a fish or two this way. I am drop shotting. And I'm going to get straight into it because I don't have a whole lot of time, and there's a bunch of tournaments that are getting ready to go out of this area that I'm in fishing. And it's getting ready to get nuts in here. In fact, here comes the first one. So I'm just going to get right to it. And so I'm going to go out here, and what I'm going to do starting off my day is I'm going to try fairly deep water because of the time of day that it is. And then I'm going to adjust what I'm doing as the day goes. You know, an hour and a half before dark, I'm going to go on up shallow into some trees, and I'm going to try that. But for right now, I'm going to stick to a little bit deeper water. I just put in over here at Caney Creek in Roane County. I'm fishing Watts Bar again. The closest and best lake for me to fish. And I've got a spinning setup, as you can see. I have got a Kevin Van Dam Dream Shot bait on. I've got about a 10 or 12 inch leader. I'm going to go ahead and take this up. That'd been cool if I caught one on the first cast. But here's the setup. There's the KVD plastic called Dream Shot. I've got about a 3/16 weight. Not much of a leader, not even maybe 11 inches or something like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try throwing that. There's a tree right over here, and I'm throwing it right out in front of this tree. And I know the trick with drop shotting is I want the weight to stay on the bottom, and all the action being imparted on the lure, I want to be the rod tip imparting the action. So I know that much. So here's what I'm doing. As you can see, you probably won't be able to see that very well. And try to get myself a little further away from this. There's a tree down here under the water. I'm going to try getting just a little further out away from this tree. I saw several fish on the fish finder coming over here, right in this general area. And so what I'm doing is I'm just going to kind of try to get out here and see if I can by any chance get any of those fish to be interested in this KVD plastic. This water drops off. Main channel of the river is behind me. This is the river channel that goes up to Caney Creek. And I'm, I don't know, 75 feet roughly off the bank, maybe 100 feet. I don't know, 75 feet. And it may be too early in the day. The water temperature is probably 86, 87 degrees. Water temperature is almost 88 degrees at the surface. It is 92 degrees outside. It feels like 715 degrees outside. But I'm so interested in this drop shot concept and seeing how that works that the temperature is not going to get in my way. Wearing long sleeve shirts for protection from the sun. And other than that, I'm just going to fish. So I continued experimenting in this first place that I stopped with different retrieves and different depths. I could see fish on the depth finder, some suspending, maybe some closer to the bottom, but nothing that I did seemed to make a difference. And I had one tiny hit, I'm pretty sure, at one point. Nothing, I mean, it could have been a bluegill for all I know. Just barely moved the bait at all. I felt just the tiniest little dink on it. So after 20 minutes, I decided to go ahead and move the boat out onto the main river channel. Where I was sitting in this part right here is actually the, I guess, the secondary channel that feeds out of Caney Creek into the main river channel. And I decided to move out onto the main points and look to the left and to the right to see if I could find any fish closer to the bottom, maybe in 25 feet of water or so, to see if I could get a hit from any of those. I don't know if you can see this or not, but see all these fish? See all these arcs? There's a ton of fish back there. I do see some fish in here. I see shad right there. What I'm going to do is go mark these shad because there are fish. There's a ball of shad right there, and I do see quite a few different fish around, but just not like tons, but I do see some. I know you can't see those, but I see a few on here. So there actually is some current. So what I'm going to try to do now is throw on top of this ledge and just bounce it down the ledge. So I'm not going to sit here and bore you to death with what I tried for the next 45 minutes, but I basically came out to the point like I said I would. Found a couple of fish down there and a few balls of shad and fished in those with no success at all. I moved around. I tried several different techniques. I fished from the top of the ledge down to the bottom into the deeper water. I tried fishing on top of the ledge. I tried a different color of bait at one point and finally decided that that was just not going to work and produce anything. In fact, I think I probably spent too much time trying in that one spot. So I decided to run down the lake, and there was an additional secondary creek channel that empties into the main river right here that I wanted to do some investigating with the depth finder just to see if I could find any shad here. So you're seeing the scene actually sped up quite a bit, and what I'm doing is I'm just looking on the fish finder. I'm looking at some structure under the water here to see if I can find any fish down on this section of the lake. I looked around for 10 or 15 minutes. Again, I'm not going to show you all that because it's just boring. I can just tell you that I couldn't find anything that I felt was worth fishing, so I eventually decided to give that up and go ahead and do what I had said I would do for the last hour and a half of the day, which was to try to find trees up on the bank that drop down into deeper water, and that's what I'm going to start doing right here in a second. About the time I had completely given up, this happens. Oh. I just missed one and ended up with this all over my rod. If I had 5 more days out here, I couldn't get this undone. What in the world did I do? How in the world? There's no way. I'd be here till next week trying to get that crap undone. Is that normal? That dude is jacked. I don't even know where to start.
So as I'm re-watching this, I'm laughing my butt off at myself. And it took me several minutes because I completely had to cut the line in several places to finally even get it off the rod. But I finally did after 5 minutes or something, completely retied, and I went back to the KVD Magic bait. And my luck was about to change. Now I kind of look like a serial killer now that I'm going back and looking at this, and I don't really understand why, but with my face in the shadows and with it covered with a mask, the real issue is that my microphone had stopped working at this point. So I'm talking, but you really can't hear what I'm saying. I'm actually very excited that I've hooked a fish. I can tell it's a decent sized fish too by the way that it's fighting. I'm explaining how light my line is and that I can't horse this fish around. I'm used to fishing with much heavier line than this spinning rod has set up on it. So I'm just kind of explaining what I'm doing, that I'm taking my time. I'm allowing it to strip off some line as it needs to. I'm actually extremely excited. I wish that you could have heard all the different things that I was talking about at this point.
Feels like a good. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. What's that, 2 pounds? Ouch! Dang it. Those things have got some sharp teeth. Let's find out what you weigh.
So again, without the benefit of having my main microphone here, I'm just kind of mumbling in the background and you can't really hear what I'm saying. But I'm having to re-rig the bait that I just lost after catching that fish, which I didn't care at all since the fish was close to 3 pounds. But what I noticed is throughout the evening, every fish that I caught, I ended up losing the lure on each of those. And I have an image there to show you some of the different ways that you can rig one of these drop shot setups. And the main thing is most of the people nose hook these, and so it would be easy for them to come off. So I think that's probably just kind of expected that when you catch a fish, there's a good chance that you'll lose one of these.
Pop of it, caught at 2.8. Try some more.
Okay, so I've just picked up my second fish just a few minutes after picking up that last one, and I know this one is much smaller, but if you pay attention to patterns and you try to pick up on things, this now is telling me that there's something that I'm doing that's right. Fishing around these trees, close to these trees and not very far off the bank late in the evening seems to be starting to produce some fish for me. So I'm going to pay attention to that and continue doing exactly what I'm doing right now. So it's right about here that I realized this fish has a unique ability to fly out of my hands. It has some kind of superpower, and I probably should have held on to it a little bit tighter. No problem. I'll just pick the fish back up. I'll hang on to it better this time and give you a good look at it. And there it goes again. And even though this fish may look completely unconscious right here, I promise this fish is totally okay. It wasn't falling very far. And as soon as I put it in the water, it just swam off like nothing had gone on whatsoever. So don't worry about it. The fish was just fine.
Fish on a drop shot says hello and thank you, Mr. Drop Shot. Gotta go. I let that fish go and he went straight back to the tree. Alright, so what happened? So it's getting really late here and I really need to be going, but I decided to make one last Hail Mary cast, if you will, towards this little rock outcropping. And it didn't take but a few seconds until I felt something pulling on the end of the line. It took me just a second for it to register that it was actually a fish. You probably see it pulling on the end of the rod before I actually tried to set the hook. And once again, it's a small bass, but I really don't care. What I've picked up on this is that this pattern seems to be working. I'm using this drop shot near trees. It's in the evening. I'm on the main channel to where the trees are dropping down into deeper water, and that seems to be the trick for right now, at least for this trip. So that's going to wrap up this video. I released this fish here in just a minute, and I had an awesome evening and I learned something new. I apologize for my audio difficulties. I'm hoping that I'll just continue to get better at making these videos. So the main thing is that I learned drop shotting does work for me. I ended up catching 4 fish. I caught all 4 fish on the Kevin Van Dam Dream Shot Perfect Plastics bait. I was using just a cheap drop shot sinker, nothing fancy there, and that seemed to work. So now the next time I try this, I'm going to focus on trees, on main channel and deep water, and see if I can't pick up some better quality fish. I appreciate you watching my video. I hope you all have the best of luck out on the water. God bless. Have a great day.